Thank you. My name is Ann Petrina Aguila, and I reside at 901 Oriole Avenue. And I'm here on behalf of my children who are 5 and 11. There's one here in the front row. And we would like to respectfully ask that the demolition of the Princefield Park not be done so hastily. My children have grown up with this park. It is near and dear to their hearts. We've attended so many birthday parties and events. We love going to this park. It's so different than any of the other playgrounds that we've experienced in other parts of the country when we visit relatives or anywhere around South Florida. And I mean, I understand there may be structural issues, but I would like to see if we can keep the look of this park the same. It's a wonderful, unique park. It has a historical significance to our city. I feel there's many people that would be very saddened to see, the look of that park that they all put so much work into, demolished and have just one of the ordinary structures you see all over America. So I just respectfully ask that you please put some time and thought into the demolition for the safety issues. I understand that, but please take your time and think of the children and the love that they have, as well as some people who are already probably in their 20s who grew up, really enjoying the park as it is. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Neri Owens, Corridon Drive. Let's go back to the meeting of December 14, Agenda Item 10D, Discussion and Recommendation regarding Princefield Playground Alternatives. Omar Luna presented 3 options for replacement, costing $245,000 for metal-like Stafford Park, $395,000 for composite wood plastic, and $383,000 for wood with artificial grass. The 3 quotes came from Superior Park Systems, the same company that painted and repaired the tot lot in March 2011 for $23,251. They replaced the slide in December 2012 for $6,250, and they're the ones that do most of the work for fencing, mulching, and other stuff at all of our parks. There seems to be no other vendor out there. The city doesn't seem to be trying to find other vendors. Do I think these quotes are inflated? Yes. You've not gotten other quotes. At that meeting, Bob Best suggested developing a conceptual design and have an RFP so you could see what's out there. There ensued a lot of discussion about cookie cutter playgrounds, ADA requirements, and that the current playground was falling apart. To quote Mayor Garcia, wood is the most difficult to maintain. Money will drive it in time together. The park is a mess. We need to shut it down and do it right. And yes, I watched all of the same thing on television yesterday, so I could be sure to quote you accurately. The Sage City Manager suggested the League of Cities inspect the existing playground first and tell us the cost to make it safe, since they insure the city. Maybe $20,000 could keep it safe for a couple of years, or if it's falling apart, to shut it down. The mayor said it's a white elephant in the room. His son's foot went through a piece of wood and it's been repaired. The mayor then asked Omar Luna who could inspect the playground. He knew Omar could not, but who could? Omar Luna said the League of Cities had experts that could inspect it, but you run the risk of shutting it down. Then the mayor asked Omar what did he think the league would find. Omar said the league would find it not ADA compliant, well, ADA didn't come in until 2010, and would freak out to shut it down. Stop. Listen. That is Omar Luna's opinion. That is Omar Luna's opinion of what the League of Cities would do or find. Does Omar Luna speak for the league inspectors? Is Omar Luna a structural engineer? No. Does the city have structural engineers that could inspect it, like they did the pool in the community center? Why not do that? no inspection, no accident report, no police reports of anyone getting hurt, no evidence of the structure being unsafe, just on Omar's opinion of what the league might find. The city manager, the sage city manager, again suggested to you, all of you, to let the League of Cities inspect it. Billy Bain and Xavier Garcia both said, we don't need the League of Cities to tell us to shut it down. We can do that. Shut it down. Billy Bain's motion to shut down died for a lack of second. Go back and watch. You'll hear yourself. Discussion continued. As experts aren't playing on the playground and there are repairs weekly. And it went on and on. Mr. Seiden said, if you know it's unsafe, you need to close it down. Billy Bain again moved to shut down now for unsafe conditions, and it passed 5-0. Then Bain moved that the city take it down right away, keep the name markers in the swings. Again, he expressed, we don't need the league, that the judgment of the recreation director was enough. The motion passed 5-0. It wasn't the judgment of the recreation director, it was his opinion of what an inspection might show. No facts, no inspection. This was a discussion agenda item that turned into a Neanderthal knee-jerk. Just because the mayor's son stepped on a rotten plank, it's like the son of the leader of the caveman's gang got hurt, so Neanderthals close up the cave and move to another safe cave. The councilwoman reported the slide had a large crack, so the slide was removed and boarded up safely, except that the 2 supporting pipes were not removed. I sent you all an email on December 15th with 3 pictures because I wanted to document the safety issue and the falling apart. Do you know the Park and Recreation Department visually inspects the park once a week, and that Caitlin Smith reported that the top plastic of the spiral slide is cracked on March 27, 2015, April 8, 2015. The bottom section is completely cracked on May 1st, 2015, June 12, 2015, broken plastic on top of the spiral slide on September 11, 2015, October 14, 2015, and November 18, 2015. I pulled those reports. I did a public record request. All of those reports were ignored until the councilwoman reported it. Then the slide got removed instead of getting fixed. Did any of you on this council walk through, inspect, or go to the Princefield playground? Did you ask the building official or an engineer to inspect it? No. You jumped on the tear it down Neanderthal mentality. All of you voted to tear it down. You were voted into office to protect the city's assets and be reasonable in your decisions for our city. I really think it was a travesty that you did this. It seems to me the mayor has wanted to close and tear down the Princefield playground for a few years since the city had Supreme Park Systems paint it in 2011. So my impression is that he had an opportunity to rally the Neanderthals to vote to shut it down and tear it down without any proof or structural inspection report. This playground is historic, unique, and an integral part of our community that Jeff Cauldron, an assistant principal of Miami Springs Middle School, and his wife Cindy led and got built. It was a gift to the children of our community. Lots of residents participated at the time. It's historic. Since 2011, the city has not really maintained it, just patched it up when wood needs replacing, and now does not even paint the wood because I got pictures of that. I took 165 pictures on December 15th. Look at the work orders and invoices. We have spent much less than the mayor says was spent. You need to pull the work orders and look at the cost of labor and materials. It's been a deliberate setup, I believe, by the mayor to destroy our history, our children's inspiration. You cannot put a price tag on developing children's imagination at that castle. How many princesses, dragons have been slayed there, pirates, over the last 15 years or 20 years, because I lived across the street and I spent time in that park. I saw a lot of kids developing their imagination who are now in middle school or high school. But oh no, we got to tear it down, and we got to tear it down now. May I suggest this council rescind its vote to tear down the playground and vote to have a structural engineer and a person from the League of Cities inspect it. And then to have 3 vendors give you quotes on repairing the existing structure when you see what the report says. It possibly can be reported. None of you are structural engineers, neither am I. My degree is in public administration, and I think it was foolish for you to jump the gun and vote not only to close it, but to tear it down without any evidence. I think that we have to see some evidence of deterioration and start acting responsibly, not like Neanderthals. And by the way, Mayor, there are ASME standards for performance, and one of the standards for the engineered wood fiber talks about mercury. You may want to look in the ASME standards.
Jim Durden, 308 Payne Drive, just 3 doors down from the park. About 20 years ago, I'm here with my daughter. She's 23 years old. She was 3 years old when the park was built. My son's 25 now, he was 5. And 20 years ago, the Cauldrons and Anna Drew came to me and asked me to help out volunteers. So I took off a week from work and was one of the building captains on the park. And, you know, I've seen it. I've lived in 3 doors down. I hear the kids yelling and screaming and having a great time at the park for the last 20 years now. And, you know, I know that this was probably one of the biggest community involvement projects we've ever had in Miami Springs. Hundreds and hundreds of volunteers put their, you know, their blood, sweat, and tears into building this park. And I really think it would be a travesty to tear it down and replace it with something that doesn't mean as much to this city. All right, thank you.
Donna Hernandez, 769 Pinecrest Drive. I know that you're going to hear about a lot of emotional attachment to the facility, like the gentleman that just came up and spoke. He's absolutely correct about one of the largest joint efforts that this community has ever had is in that park. And every time somebody goes in that park, every new parent that joins my school, I remind them about the solidarity involved and what you can do if a community pulls itself together. But putting the emotional information aside, what I have done is I have gathered information of actual work orders. I have the invoices of Superior Park Systems that has the contract, I just assume, of everything, pretty much every park and rec center, the rec center facility in Miami Springs. I also have the pictures of the 2 of the grandeur slide that basically brought the focus to the park. I'd like to pass these. I made a packet for each one of you so that you can see that the figures that we're talking about of how costly this park is to obtain is really off kilter. And I'm going to tell you why. What I did is when I pulled the work orders, there came a cover sheet on the work order that said approximately $16,000 was spent to maintain the structure from 2005 to 2011, March 2011, $16,000. Well, when I went through and I combed through the work orders, I found tree trimming, mulch spreading, electrical, the lighting, fence repair. There was over $5,000 worth of invoices and work orders that had nothing to do with the structure. Therefore, from the year 2005 to the year 2011, that's 6 years, approximately $10,000 was used to maintain the structure. Now, I know that from 2005, prior to that I could not be afforded the documentation because our system didn't, it conglomerated everything together. But I'm just assuming that from 2006 to 2005, the structure was fairly new and not that much maintenance went into the structure. But at $10,000 for 6 years, that's less than $2,000 a pop every year. Less than $2,000. Now, when we get to year 2011 and 2012, we have $30,000 worth of expenses because we've gone from city workers maintaining and repairing a structure that they're absolutely qualified to do. We went to outsourcing the maintenance of this structure to a private company. And they charged us $30,000 in 2 years. That's $15,000 each year. Okay? Now, $6,000 of those dollars was put into a slide, purchasing a slide. As well, that doesn't count the installation. Now, from 2012, when this slide was installed, we've had problems with it. We called them back, and they charged us $850 to fix it. Well, we can see how they fixed it because today it's the focus of why this park is unsafe. There are two grandeur type of pipes sticking out of the ground that are unsafe. And the guys who installed it should have been made to come back and take it out of the ground and make it safe. They should have been forced to warranty the slide that they put in that was only 3 years old. A $6,000 slide should have some respectable amount of warranty. And our council should ask for our maintenance department or whoever it is that approved Superior System to come in and install this. They should have backed it up and they should have fixed it until it was right. But instead, now we're out of, and $30,000 worth of repairs. I'm telling you, I have spoken with people who live around this park. The children from my school visit that park 3 times a month, and we don't see these safety hazards that you're talking about. Okay, this is, and especially if $30,000 was used to repair this structure in 2012, all right, it should still be maintaining itself from that vast amount of money of fixing. Now, I can see how the council might have been a little bit hasty in voting on demolishing this park, all right, I mean, this structure, because I think if you had seen the documents that I have here, I think you would have voted differently. I'd like to pass these through to you. I honestly believe you would have voted differently than to hastily go. Now, as far as forts are concerned, we have 2 of the state-of-the-art tubular forts, or I could say playground structures in the Dove Field, Dove Avenue Field, and Stafford Park. Fine. If you were to even try and get the same size of a structure with those tubular concoctions, you would be spending way over $300,000. I went to that park today. Of course, it was closed out, and there were two gentlemen there waiting for somebody in the senior center to move their cars so that they can take down the zip line. Now, that zip line is approximately a $3,000 to $5,000 structure. There was nothing wrong with it, and that was the first disassembling that they were doing today. And it seems like it's going a little bit too fast for me, and I think that there are so many different amenities to this structure that you can possibly no way duplicate. There are crosswalks, there are stairs, there are ramps, there are slides, there are three little toddler climbing areas. The list goes on and on and on. You cannot duplicate that, as well as duplicating, yes, like one of the parents said, when a child walks onto that playground, the imagination goes crazy. Okay? And I have listed for your calculating a list of all of the work orders that should not have been included in that $16,000. I put facts behind the figures that I have presented to you. There is also a little collage here of the lake of Liberty Park, Parkland, Florida. If you look at that structure, these people have properly maintained, and they have enhanced the structure from the many years that it has been in their city. This structure is surrounded by $500,000 homes, and they want this structure. These are unique structures. I say to you, don't go with the typical common tubular, fluorescent yellow, blue, green, red structures, and keep what is there. Keep the beautiful aesthetic forest, castle, imaginative type structure that these children, I can tell you that 9 out of 10 of my children that go to this park, if given the choice, will choose this park over the Stafford and the Dove Park, hands down, hands down. And I would think it's a sin to waste $300,000 to get the least amount of bang for your buck that you're going to get. Now, I will tell you, part of this work order I saw was 239 hours to lay mulch. And I'm sorry, that shouldn't have been included on the cost of putting this structure up or maintaining this structure, because you'd have to do that to any kind of structure. And I hope that you go and you look. There's a draft here to show, a graph that shows how the structure maintained itself for 6 years. And all of a sudden you hire an out of the non-city worker contractor, and it goes out, it gets skyrocketed.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I have to rebut again. You said that it is not being demolished. Your workers were there today.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez.
Starting on it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I came here on behalf of my neighbors surrounding the park and the kids that come every day, and my family. Well, we spoke, myself and the mayor spoke in 2013 when he presented the idea of demoing the park, and I stated that this park is historic. I wouldn't just easily go into that.
I know you would prefer that I stop you when you're incorrect. You would want that. You wouldn't want me to allow you to continue. Other people, I don't know, but there was no presentation. There is no record of us presenting to do
personally.
Just listen to me for 1 second, because I don't want to do that. And you are a man who has credibility with me. So we discussst that there was discussion to consider changing it, and not on the record, but I informed you that there was discussion about it, and you didn't want it to change at all. And I took that to heart.
I had to make a petition to block this
But
idea.
it wasn't happening. That's it. You made a
Right.
petition based on our
And
conversation.
then I received a letter
wasn't
signed
happening.
and dated by yourself.
That's of course I signed it, but
Right,
there was no
saying that there
presentation
are no.
to change it. Listen, I'm not going to enter into the debate of it anymore.
Sure,
But I want you to understand.
explain.
I want you to understand one thing. We haven't even discussed it. Safety. Before we hear the repetitiveness, safety is the number one concern for our children.
Of course.
And when that was mentioned to you, as well as other folks who were considering it, you all understood, especially understanding that we are not
Safety is a
moving
minor
forward.
expense.
Yes, but continue. Go on.
The tot lot had been refurbished in 2011 and a new slide in 2012. Therefore, I started a petition, asked the residents to show the mayor by signatures that it was not necessary, and the resident and the children loved the park, so they were all for it.
Agreed.
I suppose the timing was just right prior to the elections. So the mayor responded withdrawing. He has the idea to demo the park structure. We backed out. I put a petition. You answered back, we're not going to demo it, with a letter. And now, knowing there would be strong resistance to demolition of the park structure again, and elections are over, the mayor brought up the subject of demolition of the park up again in what was supposed to be a discussion, this time claiming safety issues, but ending up as a vote to demo it very quickly.
It's very sad.
Yeah. I want to know Mayor Garcia.
Very sad.
I felt very betrayed because the first time we spoke about it, and now we're here disregarding the whole what we said. It is my understanding the Princefield tot lot has been an excellent safety issue concerning usage and age of children that have used it for many years. Why hasn't the contractor told to fix the $6,200 slide that we spent $6,200 to install and $850 to fix? Did we negotiate something so costly without a warranty? Because that's the main issue of the park, correct? I mean, I don't know if this
So
was
you're not correct. But if you're asking,
I mean,
you can continue. Go
we
ahead.
don't know of any safety issues. They're not written
Thank you.
anywhere. We don't
All of
know.
your
of them.
questions will be answered when we
Right,
actually have
I'm
a
just
presentation.
stating. I'm just letting everyone
A
know that we
misinformation,
don't know about
But
it.
you can continue. It's okay.
In comparing the Princefield structure to the Stafford Park structure, kids have doubled the amount of amenities to play with. I live in the area and have seen half thought out projects. When you demoed the rec center, you were asked to consider keeping the building where it is. Well, today we live around the park. With the bad ideas. You took all of Princefield's parking, put it behind the rec center, causing parking overflow westward and in front of the houses. We had an Olympic-sized pool, and for over $5 million, we were ending up with a third less pool square footage of what we had, and instead a 5,000 square foot building.
I know.
Princefield tot lot, we will end up with something aesthetically intrusive and half the amenities that this tot lot has for the amount of money you're expecting to spend. Today, I witnessed city workers taking down a mini zip line and had nothing wrong with it, and at today's value would cost at least $5,000 to install in a new park, which doesn't add up to me because we've already spent it and we're gonna go spend it again. It's so I'm asking, please stop making these costly, irreversible mistakes with our money and listen to the residents. Thank you very much. By the way, I was wondering, did council visit Princefield structure before voting in demolition to the safety issues?
Thank you. There's no discussion or debate. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Marie Garcia Estrada. I live on 900 Apache. Just here to tell you how much we love our park and please don't tear it down. I feel the same way as the rest of our residents, and just please consider maintaining the integrity of the park and not tear it down and put up the same cookie cutter park that we can find anywhere else. That's it.
But I wouldn't be here with all my kids if this issue wasn't really that important, and it's the park. And I do agree with everybody that talked about the park. And you know, my dad, just like most of the residents here, put his blood, sweat, and tears into helping build the park. And you know, it did unite us as a community. That was one of the things. And now my kids are able to go to the park, and it just means so much. We've been to other parks, and they're horrible. Like compared to this one, they're horrible. So, like Julie, part of the reason why I moved to Whitethorn, not only was it to be, you know, neighbors with the mayor and
And the council.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
You probably see me struggling every day trying to get the kids in the car and everything, but it's because of the great walk. I could take my kids to the park, and this beautiful park. I can sit and actually have time to talk to other moms and have maybe a full conversation while my kids are, you know, playing and stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of maintenance that needs to be done. My kids have gotten hurt there too, and I still take them because it's such a great park. So that's what I would ask.
I live here. This is my business is here. This is my home now. I've been here for 5 years. I have a lot of things in common with Julie in that we were looking around. I was actually from North Carolina, so we had no idea where to move to Miami, but we found Miami Springs, and we said this is the only place we could live. Part of that being that the character of it, just like what Julie was saying. I don't know the history too much about like the Curtis Mansion and the retirement community that they have here as well. Those are unique. You're not going to find those anywhere else. That's part of the character that makes Miami Springs nice. This park that goes along with that. That's something that should be worked on very hard to try to maintain, so that we don't just turn out like everybody else. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Been there since '97 too. I could see that, you know, everybody's concerned about what the park's going on.
Sure.
I'm sure that you guys are, and you know, you said safety was a main issue, and there is a lot of safety concerns, just not the park, about lighting in the park, about the old people having places to park their vehicles during the day. They're parking up on the grass on the side, you know. I don't think it's safe for them. There's no place for them to actually walk, a sidewalk for them to go into the little area there. There's many safety issues there. There's the cars speed by on Payne Drive all the time. There's no way to stop them. You know what I mean? The little sign that was put that I thank you for putting in front of my house, I greatly appreciate, but that doesn't stop them from speeding that street. My children have grown up in the park there, and you know, we are definitely concerned about many different safety issues, not just what's going on in the park.
Hi, my name is Julie Trujillo, and I am somewhat of a newbie to Miami Springs. We've lived here for the past 5 years. We moved here when my daughter was born. We were living in Doral, and I wanted a place that had community. I wanted a place where we can go after school and they can play with their friends. I wanted a place that I can walk to a park where we could be safe, where they can grow up as a community. And that's what we found in Miami Springs. And one of the icons of Miami Springs for me was Prince Field, or is Prince Field, because it is still there. And we drive by it every single day. And every single day I get asked the questions by my kids, which if you know my kids, I think you do too.
I know them very well.
Why aren't we going there? Because we used to go every single week after school with many of the parents that are here today. I have built a community of parents and friends at that park. I understand there were many safety issues at the park, and now listening to these issues, such as the slide, I use that slide. My kids use that slide, and the council was being called on these safety issues, on those cracks. Nothing was being done to repair it. I myself called about issues in the park, like when the lock was broken, I think a year or two ago. I called about issues to see if it would be repaired, and nothing was being done about it. We would call and it would be months and months before anything was done about the safety concerns that I had. And I'm using that park 2-3 times a week. My kids, my 2-year-old, my 3-year-old, well, he's now turning 4. They're using that park, and I'm calling and nothing is being done to fix it. In my opinion, as a tax-paying resident, I would like my tax dollars to go to repair the park and to make the needed improvements that the park needs, not to demolish what is Miami Springs to me. It's that park. It's the park that we walk to on weekends. It's the park that we go to after school with our friends. It's a castle park. I'm sorry, I didn't prepare.
The wood park, the castle park.
I'm gonna look at my notes. But it's the castle park to my kids, and I don't want that gone. I understand the repairs. I understand it needs improvements, and repairs would be great in a timely manner. I don't understand why it was shut down abruptly. Can I give my kids time to tell them, we're going to visit the park one last time because it's going to close next month? Let's do this, and let's inform our residents the way we should be informed, so we can tell our kids instead of telling them, no, it's closed. We walked up to Prince Field and saw a fence because we didn't know that it was going to be closed. We did not know. And I read the Gazette. I'm on all the Facebook sites for Miami Springs, and I was not informed of anything for me to be able to tell my kids. And we walked away. We've tried Stafford Park. They just don't like it. They just don't like it. And I also, if I have one question here today, it is about the timing. I don't know why it would take, I have heard, this is what I have heard, that it'll take at least a year with the park closed, with my community park closed. So my question is also about the timing. Make the repairs that you need to make, but do it in a timely manner, please, so that our children can go back to the park on their field trips, after school, on weekends, and do our birthday parties there. And I want to say one last thing. When we moved to Miami Springs, and we picked a house that was near enough to the park that we could walk to, and I was so excited about that. But when we moved to Miami Springs, the park had a drawbridge that would shake when you ran on it.
Yeah, that's right.
That it no longer has today. It was repaired by just plain wood planks.
Correct.
And I always assumed that you did not want to spend the money on replacing it correctly. It also had a little drawbridge in the little baby area that they could run on that was also replaced with straight wood planks. So the repairs in the park the last 2 years have been subpar, to say the least. Below subpar. For the amount of taxes that I pay, it is the most expensive city to live in. And it is a city filled with families and children. Filled. I walk down my block and it's all families and children. We should have that park. We should maintain it and repair it correctly. That's what I would expect from a city that has so many families and children. That has families moving here because of our parks, because of our schools. That's all.